and I direct your students in our choirs here at Mira Costa. Joining me tonight are our co-presidents, Sine Gray and Hillary Hanmaikai, and we're here to talk about the tour for 2017. And so I just want to give you a little background on how this sort of all began. This summer, I went on a riverboat cruise on the Danube, going out of Budapest, Hungary, to Passau, Germany. And it was the first time I'd ever done anything like this. And I had actually wanted to go on AMA Waterways first, but AMA was all sold out on the week availability that we had. So I went over to its its competitor, Uniworld, and thought, okay, here we go, never done anything like this, we'll see what it's like. I'll get to see Germany, Austria, and a whole bunch of fabulous cities along the way. And so flew over, got to the boat, and immediately was knocked out. I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be incredible. And it was. And that night at dinner, it's open seating, and my partner and I see 2 seats open at this table of 8, and we go, well, they look like nice people, let's sit with them. So we sat with them, and it turned out we sat with them for the rest of the cruise. They were amazing people, 2 of whom are cruise specialists and sell riverboat cruises. And so Mary Crowley is her name. She works and lives in Caribou, Maine for Cruise One, which is the largest purveyor of riverboat cruises in the world. And she has her own, office and works for Cruise One selling these riverboat cruises. And so as we were going down the river, as we were going up the river and getting off at different places, I'm thinking, oh wow, we could tour here, this would be a great place. And I was thinking all about the choirs, but I wasn't thinking about the boat. I was just thinking about places. And so when I got back and the tour was done and back here in California, I started thinking, all of a sudden it just hit me. Wait a minute, this could really work on this boat for a lot of really fabulous reasons. So I called Mary, and Mary said, Michael, this is a great idea. So she put this out to 4 cruise companies, AMA Waterways, Uniworld, Viking, and Avalon. And she thought Viking would be the first one that would just hop on this. How many of you are familiar with Viking Cruises, have seen their ads and all that kind of stuff? Right. Viking didn't even bite at this thing. They could have cared less. Uniworld, she told them, Michael Hayden, choir director, California, whatever, sailed with you this summer once too, did not come back with anything. AMA, within 2 days, had something in our hands. They are so interested in us doing this. And so that's sort of where all this has germinated to. And I just want to tell you just a little bit about AMA Waterways and who they are as a company. They're actually seated up in Calabasas. And I'm going to have access, if this all works out, to vice presidents and people who are going to help me in a lot of different ways. It's 5-star travel. And when I mean 5-star travel, I do really mean that. It truly is upscale, high-end travel. And in talking with Mary, and Mary talking with AMA Waterways, we have received a deal that's pretty darn remarkable. The pricing that they've given us for what you get on this experience is just unbelievable. And so I said to Mary, I said, Mary, why are they doing this? And they said, Michael, they think this is a really great idea. And I got to thinking, well, I'm certainly going to tell all my friends about it when I get home, that this is a great way to tour with choirs. You're contained in one place. You're seeing many places. They're taking you from place to place to place to which you could sing in. The food is phenomenal. The ship is amazing. And the sites that we're going to get to visit are going to be just, exactly what I always want my students to experience in foreign travel. So it's a win-win for everybody. So I'd like to start with the itinerary. Is that the right? No. There. Nope. There we go. There we go. Let's go to 150%. So how this would begin is we would take our air from LA to Amsterdam. We have worked very hard to get AMA Waterways to include air on this. Normally they don't. And one of the things that we got them to agree to was to quote us an air price now. Initially they said they had to wait 310 days till departure. And we said, we can't do that. And we need a number, or at least a range. And they gave us that. They have given us a range of between $1,100 and $1,300, up to $1,300 for airfare, and that's round trip. So I think for those of us who travel, if you know what airfare to Europe is these days, that's pretty dynamite. So we know what that is. So we would fly to Amsterdam, nonstop, and we land in Amsterdam we leave on a Friday, get there on a Saturday, and we board the boat. And it's overnighting in Amsterdam, then it's in Amsterdam all the next day, and we participate in day 2. So I'll let you read that. Then on to Cologne. And this is one of the places where I want to sing. So let me talk about the musical aspect of this trip. We want to do 3 concerts. Last time we did Paris and London, we sort of did too many concerts. It was great, but it was too many, and we realized that. So we're going to scale back, and so I want to be able to perform, hopefully in the Gothic Cathedral, and AMA Waterways is going to help connect me to the folks there. I have actually already emailed 3 cathedrals along the river, and I actually heard back from one of them today. So that's going to be, hopefully, one of our spots. Day 4 is Rudesheim. Day 5 is Speyer and Heidelberg. And Heidelberg is the second place I want to concertize in. And actually, I heard from Heidelberg today, and one of the cathedrals. And they said, what time will you arrive, etc. And I actually sent them some recordings to sort of tease them a little bit, and hopefully that'll get a quicker response from them. And then day 6 is Strasbourg, and that's the other place I want to perform. Day 7 is Breisach in Germany. And we land in Basel on day 8. And then we transfer to Zurich. Now they have given us, AMA Waterways has given us quite a lot to entice us to take this. First of all, this is over spring break. We're only going to miss one day, that Friday, and then all of that next week. This is a wine-themed cruise. So for you wine lovers up there, this will be perfect because they do wine tasting trips in a lot of the towns. There are wine tastings on board. When I first heard this, I thought, okay, I'm going to have to go to my principal on this one. And I went to Dr. Dale and I said, Dr. Dale, I said, I'm looking at Germany for 2017, AMA Waterways, riverboat cruise down the Rhine, and it's a wine-themed cruise. How do you feel about that? And he said, well, last year we took our kids to the Mormon Tabernacle in Salt Lake City. Next year we take them on a wine-themed cruise. We offer a broad range of experiences for our students. And I said, good for you. So it really will be an amazing trip for folks who have that desire to check that out. But you also need to know, for us particularly, since we won't be having our students go on these wine-themed excursions, there are excursions available to us that are not part of that theme. And I can tell you the excursions that I took on these boats are amazing. And they're all operated by local guides, and this is all included. Every bit of this. Nothing is extra. So here's what is included. Seven nights, tours and excursions daily, entertainment on demand in all staterooms featuring high-speed internet access, movies, extensive library, English language TV stations, complimentary Wi-Fi access on board, the bathrobes and white plush bedding, fine dining with all meals included during your cruise, bottled water in every stateroom replenished daily, a cocktail reception. I asked about that. They've had groups come on AMA Waterways before, but not choirs. And what they did is they did a special non-alcoholic punch for the kids. Welcome dinner and captain's gala dinner, transferred from Basel to Lucerne. That's not part of our trip. That's part of a day trip. So we didn't get this out of here. They offer a 2-day, actually 4-day land package, but we're not going to be part of that. Highlights including lectures, cooking demonstrations, onboard music performances, and piano music. Bicycles to explore on your own and guided bicycle tours. This summer, one of the coolest things I did was I got off in this one village, and the boat was there, and 25 of us got on bikes, and we biked to the next village as the boat was sailing up the Danube. And it passed us, and then we passed it, and then it passed us again, and had we not stopped for this one moment, we would have beat the boat. And it was a very cool experience. Service as a professional cruise manager, all English language on board in non-smoking environment. Transfers between hotel and ship are included, and this is where they have really stepped up. We're getting all our transfers from the airport in Amsterdam to the boat, and from the boat to Zurich, which is a 2-hour bus ride. Normally they would charge for that. Okay? Great. All right, so now we go to this, which is where we were. And I'm just going to show you some photos so you get a greater idea of what we're looking at here. This is the AMA Sonata. It was built in 2013. This is the lounge area. Great place to just sit and look out, watch the river as it goes by, chat. This is one of the dining areas in the back of the boat. The main dining room. All meals are included, breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day. This is a stateroom that is one of the larger suites, one of the smaller suites. They've got a small gym. This is a pool. We didn't have a pool on my boat this summer, which I think this is really pretty interesting. And they are back to that. Let me show you this. I don't know if we'll hear this or not, but at least we'll get a visual. Coming up. Doesn't look like it is. Oh, there it is. It's loading. There is a spa on board. That's not included. Correct. Actually, I will tell you, as I see this, the first night on the boat for me was my birthday. And I was surprised with the big birthday cake and didn't know it was coming, and it was really pretty fun. So this is what we'll be doing. We'll be traveling down the Rhine, and it's pretty cool. That was Budapest right there. That was just an amazing place. All right, so I'm going to leave that for a minute. Now let's talk about how we're making this trip work. To make this trip affordable, and to make it, first of all, let me say that AMA Waterways came back to us with incredible pricing for the cabins. There are 3 decks. There's the bottom deck, middle deck, top deck, and then the top deck is not actually the top deck of the boat. There's the top deck that you can walk around and stand on and view everything that you're going by. So there are 3 classes of cabins that we're going to be dealing with. AMA Waterways has set aside 42 cabins. Correct, guys? Okay. This is called a half charter. For this trip to occur, we have to fill the half charter. Now, we can do that with our choir students, families, parents, siblings, friends of yours, adult friends of yours, other families that you're connected to. Anybody is invited to partake in this half charter except students at Costa that are not part of our choral department. Now, if they are siblings, of course they can go. But if somebody wanted to just bring Joey, that's a sophomore and isn't part of the choral department, that's not happening, okay, for obvious reasons. So we have 42 cabins that we need to fill to make sure that this trip happens. If we get those 42 cabins filled, and we have more that want to go, we have access to those cabins, and we can get them, which is even more cool. The boat holds 164 passengers, so 42 is half that charter. And so that's the bottom line. If we don't meet that, this trip does not occur. I am highly encouraging parents and adults and family members that you have outside your immediate family to consider this with us. If we would get to the point that we would charter the whole boat, that is an option. We would have that available to us. That would be 164 cabins at 4284 cabins, 80, whatever that is, whatever the math is. So to make this all work, this is how this is going to happen. We have these 3 levels of cabins. There are actually many more. The higher level cabins we have available to us if we want them. But we've been allocated 42 of these cabins in 4 classes, but it's 3 classes that we're really focusing on with regard to students and chaperones. And so to make this work, we have come up with, they gave us the pricing, and we amortized the price of those class of cabins to create one price that everyone would pay. Now, the cabin class difference is just, it's slight. Some people might think it's a big difference, and that will be, if that's an issue for you, that will determine whether you're going to choose to go on this cruise or not. The cabins on the bottom deck do not have what they call a French balcony. They don't have the sliding glass door. They have 2 windows. The next class of cabin up has the French balcony. And then the next class up has the French balcony and an outside balcony. But most of the cabins that we're thinking for students will be that bottom deck with just the windows and then the French balcony cabins. But all of us are going to pay one price for whatever class of cabin we get for these 42 cabins. We wanted to do this so this would be affordable and accessible to everybody. Now, how do we then decide who gets the cabins? We're going to do a lottery for all of the students first, and all of those cabins will be those bottom level and mid-level cabins. And so that's how that will work. If that's something that you really can't agree to, then this probably won't work for you. We're hoping there are going to be enough people to their kid wants to go and you want to go, that's going to work. We want the adults, because if you are going to go and your kid is going to go, you are obviously forking out a lot of money, and we want you to be in that higher level cabin. So we're putting the students down lower in that lottery system, and then you would get the upper level cabin. Now I want to pause here a minute and ask if there are any questions about that. Yes? Oh, I didn't say, sorry, 2 students per cabin. They can be pulled apart, absolutely. Yes, ma'am. Asha. Well, yes, you do, and this is why. Because we're doing a lottery system, we have to lottery the room. And so you're going to choose, as a student, your roommate. No, because we're going as a festival choir. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
Your family, can you choose the lower cabins if you have young siblings you're worried about throwing themselves out of the balcony?
Actually, I will say this to you, probably not, and this is why, because those cabins are going to be reserved for our singers. We've got to go on availability for singers first. Okay? Other questions? Yes, ma'am.
So for the adults, you're assuming that it should be 2 adults per cabin.
Correct. That's exactly right. And so if it's not a husband and wife or a family member, but you want to go, then we would help you find another adult person that you would be willing to share that room with. Now, this is sort of the punchline to all this. Having done this not this particular riverboat cruise, but having done one just very similar to it, we were in our cabins very rarely. Because in the morning we're at breakfast, then we're out all day. If we're not out all day in excursions, we're up on the top deck. Well, and particularly on this cruise, because it's a Rhine cruise, we're going to be seeing all the castles and all the cool stuff. And even when I was on the Danube, everybody was out because we didn't want to sit in a room, for heaven's sakes. So most of the time is going to be spent outside the room. Other questions? Yes, sir.
What if it's a husband and wife, you have a singer,
Yes?
but you have another child that you're bringing, so now there's 3.
That child we'd have to find another cabin for that child with another person.
What if that child's 9?
That person's going to have an adult with them in that cabin.
Can you put 3 in the same room?
You cannot.
Even if you're paying for 3?
I'll double check that. Would you please help me remember that? But I'm almost certain that they won't do 3 in a room. I'll double check it though. Knowing the size of the cabins and the configuration of the beds, I'll just go ahead and ask this because this is something I would ask Mary. May I assume that the child would sleep with one of you in one of the beds?
There's only 2 beds, you may assume.
Thank you. Let me double check that.
There you go.
It's a little bit different in the riverboat cruising, but they don't. They don't. The suites do, but not the mid-level rooms. Okay? So let me find out about that. And also, let me just pose this, because this could be a negotiation point for us. There could be an upcharge for that third person. Let me find out if that would be a possibility. Okay? Other questions? Yes? Let me double check. Let's write that one down. That's why we're asking these questions. Tori? Absolutely. This is one of our alumni. I already have an alumni mom who was my second booster president. She's like, I'm going on this one. Then she said, hey, Adam will be graduating from college. Can he come? I'm like, of course he can, and he's a tenor. So yes, absolutely. Other questions? That age is so whatever, but on my trip, it's 21. And I'm going to talk about all that portion of the expectation in just a moment. Okay? Other questions about this lottery system? Good? Yes, ma'am.
If you're single, could you still go if you moved up with someone?
Absolutely. And that's where we would start that process of, okay, we got a single here, we got a single here, let's put them together, go for coffee and meet each other. Yes. Right now, the number is 90. Is that correct? 90 current students that would be eligible for this trip? 98. If we do, I will drop my jaw. And I got to say this to you, I will share this with you. When I decided to go to Carnegie in 2012, I thought, oh, if I'm lucky, I'll take 60 kids, right? We took 120. Now, this is much more expensive, and so I don't know how that will play out, but man, if I'm faced with that one, I'll be really shocked. Any other questions? All right, let me look at my little thing here, see where I go next. All right, so what's next is chaperones. So we need people to chaperone this trip. And normally we would take teachers and administrators. Actually, I have asked Dr. Dale to go. He is very interested in coming with his wife. I've also asked a vice principal to go. She is very interested in coming to celebrate the completion of her doctorate at that time. And so we may have administrators on our boat, and I'm hoping we will. But what we're going to need to do on this time around is do chaperones, because since we're not with a travel company, you get like a free trip for every 10, and that's how we've been paying for our chaperones on these other kinds of trips. That doesn't exist here, so we're going to need chaperones. And so I'm going to say to you that if you are interested in chaperoning, please let Mr. McCormick and I know. It doesn't guarantee you will chaperone, but at least that ball will have started rolling. If we don't have enough chaperones, and the district requires that we have one for every 10 per gender, or portion of 10. So if we don't have enough chaperones, we don't go. So this is going to be a little bit incumbent upon you as parents to want to do that, if you want your child to have this experience. And I understand that that, again, then puts another sort of pressure on you with regard to financial, with regard to paying for you and your child. And so we're going to be looking at that, and we've got some thoughts about that already, but we're not quite ready to talk about that yet. But I just will say, if you are interested in chaperoning, please let us know. Now understand also that we're going to be needing chaperones on all decks. So there will be 2 rooms of chaperones down in the lower. There'll be 2 to however many more we need in that middle deck, depending on how many students go. And so we will talk to you as chaperones once we find out who wants to go, and then we get the list and say, okay, would you be willing to be down in this deck, and you're in this deck, and we go from there. Okay? With regard to the overage, I want to make sure that we talk about this. If we get over 84, if we get over 42 cabins, and we're going to be showing you the price here in just a minute, I want you to understand that if we get over that, and folks want to go, which knock on wood, I hope they will be paying the upcharge difference in relation to that upper stateroom. Know that that's not a huge amount of money, and it's significantly less than what they would pay as a normal patron, because we got the half-boat charter. And so if we get to that point and we're over those 42 cabins, they're still going to get a great deal because of the price reduction that Alma Waterways is giving us. Oops. Right, there's that. Okay, now's the part I can't wait to talk about. I had the most fabulous vacation on my riverboat this summer. It was one of the coolest vacations I have ever had. And I travel a lot. If I had gotten on that boat and there were 60 high school kids on that boat, I would have not been a happy traveler. And I am very serious because I'm a high school teacher. And the last thing I want to do on vacation is vacation with my high school students, right? On my vacation. I don't consider the spring break my vacation. I'm giving up that vacation to do this for our students. But I want you to understand, put yourself in this position. You are that couple that has been saving and saving and saving for this 5-star, fabulous, amazing vacation. And you arrive to your wine-themed cruise, and there are 60 high school kids on your boat. Do I need to say any more? Now, folks, I'm really serious about this. I really want this trip to happen. And so does Alma Waterways, and so does Mary Crowley. And they're not making a lot of money on this. They really aren't. I'll let you know what they're giving. They're giving my cabin free. They're giving me a cabin this summer to go do all of the preview of this very same itinerary so I can go to the see it work and see the places we're going to perform. They're giving us all sorts of perks because they want this to be something new for them as a company. Now, with that said, what do I expect of our students on this cruise? It's a small boat. Let's go back there for a minute. Bow to stern, that's the center staircase, small dining lounge, dining room. I told the kids when we just recently did something, they will be using their European inside voices for 7 days. And I told a story this summer when I was traveling to Greece. I was in a situation and my loud American voice came out. And my friend just put her hand on my shoulder and said, "You might need to be a bit quieter." And I was mortified because the loud American came out of me. In my own home country of Greece. I was mortified. And so we've been talking to the kids a lot about this, because if we're going to be in close quarters like this, with that couple, or couples who have paid a lot more money than we did to be on this fabulous vacation, and they didn't know that those high school kids were going to be on that boat, and Mary said they won't know. Alma will not tell them. Then we've got to be impeccable. One thing I will not tolerate on this boat, several things, but top of the list is if we even remotely see a student even approaching alcohol, they are off at the next village. If we're in that village, they're off the boat. And if you're the parent, you're going to escort them. And I wouldn't be very happy if I were you, because I would be leaving my little portion of my vacation, escorting my child off that boat. Here's the next thing I won't tolerate. No student is in any other student's room at any time. Ever. Boy, girl, girl, boy, 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 girl, girl. Never. Because I know high school kids. And if they get in there, what are they going to do? They're going to start talking and getting loud. That's not what we do in these staterooms. We sleep. So if that kid is found in that room, they will be off the boat. So I have to say this to you because I want you to understand this is high-end stuff. And if your student you think might have difficulty with this, then you must discuss that as a family and really decide if this is the trip for them. Do I want it to be the trip for them? Yes, I do. Only if they can meet these really basic rules of behavior. And we're going to be signing contracts to this end. We always do. When we went to Greece, Mark is back there, he will tell you, we took 25 kids for 2 weeks. 2 weeks in Greece. They were amazing. France and England, phenomenal. But we're opening a new door here that's never been opened. No choir has ever done what we're about to do with AMA Waterways or any other riverboat cruise line. And so we're the test case. And very honestly, I'll say this, one of the reasons we have gotten what we have gotten is because I know Mary very well now. She was my traveling buddy for a week, and you know when you meet people that are kindred souls on a vacation and you suddenly become very close to each other, that's what happened to Mary and I. And because I'm California Teacher of the Year, and because we're a Grammy Gold Signature School and all those accomplishments we've gotten, that's what's gotten us this deal. Our reputation. And I said to our students, that's all we've got, is our reputation. So if you're going to do this, please sit your child down and say, okay, Mr. Hayden is serious. He really means it. If this is something you can't do, please tell me now as a parent. Because if you're going to fork over a bunch of money, you want to be able to trust your child as much as I do. And I do. And Mr. McCormick and I will tell you, we say this all the time. We have the best kids in the world, period. But we also know that under certain circumstances, our kids don't always make the right choice. And that's where we as teachers help them and where you as parents help them. And so please just really understand this. I keep thinking that couple that paid thousands and thousands of dollars more and gets on the boat and sees the high school students. What kind of message do we want to send to them? Well, I know the message that Costa kids are amazing. And by the end of the cruise, they're going to love them. And they're going to come to all our concerts. And they're going to want them to sing on the top deck of the boat. And they're going to want to sit with them. And they'll be their grandmother and grandfather for a week. Get my point? Folks, that's what I want this to be. But for that to happen, our kids, they just have to be. Okay? Sure. Yes. It varies from day to day. Some days you're cruising all morning. Some days you arrive in the town and you're out excursioning all day. It totally depends on the set schedule for the day. They have very few on-board organized activities because they want you out seeing the towns. That's the whole point. No, when we're on the boat, right. But see, that's where I'm going to say to them, come up on deck with me and Mr. McCormick and these other people and let me talk to you about what we're seeing because we're going to preview all this stuff with them. That's this castle and we're headed to this town. And there are little port excursion lectures and stuff on board, particularly during the spring because they know that we can't be outside all the time because it may rain. In the summertime, we don't have that problem typically. But I get it. And that's why, looking at, not that photo, I think it's the next one I want to see. Yes, that one. I would love to see several kids just calmly talking like they do in the hallway, which they do. I've seen all our students just sit together and chat. That's what we want them to do. About what they just saw, about what they're going to see. Okay? All right, let's move on. Okay, here comes the price and payment schedule. Make sure I get the right one here. Sene, is it this one? Yep, there it is. There we go. Okay. $41.55 or less, depending on airfare. That's the highest end it'll get. and that includes everything. It could be 200 less to 39. Okay? We went to Paris and London for 38, and we certainly didn't get what we're going to get on this one. That's for sure. Sign up online via Sign Up Genius, and we're going to email this out, correct? Yep, we're going to sign up online with this by Monday, a week from today. What that means is you are interested in having your child go on this trip. And that means that you want to go too. And that means that you have an aunt that wants to go with you. And anybody else that's interested in going, we want them to sign up. Okay? What that's going to do is let me know if we have a viable trip. It's also going to tell me about balance. Do I have 48 women and 2 boys? If I do, we have an issue. And we have to think about what we're going to do. Sign the contract by December 1. AMA has been so gracious about this. I cannot tell you. The 2017 schedule hasn't even come out for AMA Waterways yet. And they're giving us this much time to put our trip together. So we don't have to sign this contract until December 1. So between now and December 1, we can continually work to get those 42 cabins. If by December 1 we don't have them, we don't have a trip. Proof of insurance. That's in the contract that AMA has sent us. Everyone going on the trip must purchase insurance. We've got a couple of options for you, but you also can go off on your own. But you must show us proof of insurance to be on this trip. And then here's your payment schedule. Yes. Travel insurance. Yep, travel insurance. Okay? So there's the payment schedule. We left out December because of the holidays, so you can have a little bit more extra spending money for the holidays. And I think that's it for that one. Yes? Great. We are going to email you the insurance options that we found. There's 2 levels, silver and gold, or silver and platinum, whatever it is. But again, you can go off on your own and find it, but these are pretty affordable and really pretty good trip insurance things. Now, it takes me to, now that we're dealing with price, let me explain something really important that you understand. When we sign this contract, we are liable for those 42 cabins. Period. How this is different from the foreign language trips is that you as a family member would sign up your daughter, you will think she's going to go, you're making payments, and then something happens and you suddenly call Senora Shapiro for the Spain trip and say, she can't go, this happened. And you pull out and you pay some kind of penalty depending on what ACIS, our travel company for foreign language trips, puts in their contract. That's how it works for you. It does not work like this for us. We are liable for those 42 cabins as a high school. Do you understand what I just explained to you? So, when we sign that contract, we are saying we are going to fill 42 cabins. So, go down the line. If someone then says to me, we have this situation, we can't go anymore, you will lose the money that you have put in already through this payment process up through the date that you have paid. And we need to find someone to fill that cabin.
Unless somebody.
Right. Now, yeah, if you find someone to fill that cabin, you're good. But if we don't, you're going to be out of money. You understand why we have to do that? Good, because that's a big one. Yes, ma'am.
What does the trip insurance cover then?
Trip insurance covers the typical stuff that, like illness, Accidents, death, not, oh, for some reason we're now canceling and not going. Right. It's that kind of stuff.
So the insurance amount is on top of this 41?
Correct. On top of this 4155 is your trip insurance. And that trip insurance we found for you is around 135 per kid, roughly speaking. It's a little bit more for adults, not much. Everything else, port charges, everything. Oh, yeah, everything is included. Tips are included in this. Because we're gratuities, because we must tip and be gracious to those folks who are serving us on the boat. Okay? Yes.
Swim with bar included?
For you? No. For the child? Yes, because they won't be drinking. All right. I think deposits, that's it. All checks are made out to MBX. And there we are. I can tell you that this price, of all the prices on campus for trips, is one of the lowest, if not the lowest, of the foreign language trips. The foreign language trips are running well into the mid 4,000s right now and upper in some cases. And they certainly aren't 5-star experiences like we're going to be getting. And they don't include all meals. Questions? Yes, sir.
Any travel documents other than passport?
No. No visas are needed. Per person. Other questions? Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Or if not, I will double check that. I know that we had a situation, and because you're in port every day, I know they went into town one day for somebody, but I know that was like well taken care of. But I will double check that. Yes, ma'am.
To clarify, chaperones pay the same price as.
They do. They
And
do.
What's the latest we could add join? Because I don't have to forego, you know.
That's a great question. The latest you could add is January? January of 2017?
I think on the waterways, only guarantees the charter price,
The
which is
charter-
much lower than the retail price.
That's true.
Until
You're right. For the charter price, it's December 1. Now, over and above that, that's not true. No, because she said, that's not true, because she said we just have to fill our 42 cabins, but if people come in after that, that price is still available to them. Yes, it is. I'll double check that, but I'm just would bet my next paycheck on that one. Yes, so to answer your question, you got like a good year. Yes, sir. No, gosh, no. This is a nice, easy river. It's wonderful. You have a great question. Yes.
Maybe the down, how long is Emma Waterways been in business?
Great question. I want to say like 12, 15 years, and they are one of two premier providers, them and Uniworld. And I invite you to do this over the next several days. Go online, read the critics, read Cruise Critic, read everything about them.
What if they cancel the cruise for some reason or go out of business? Do we have any sort of insurance to?
Yes, we do, because we have that through the school, I think, but I'll double check that because it's a great question.
It's a long time off.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's a lot of money to give them.
Absolutely. There's,
By the way, it's that state, thank you.
yeah. Let me double check that because I think through the school we're covered that way, but I'll double check. Great. Other questions? Yes,
You said that all meals are included,
they are.
do you accommodate special, like allergies?
They do. They're incredible about this. This was at our table every night. My friend from Colorado and her husband were like, well, she goes, I don't really eat that. Can I have, they're like, we'll make whatever you want. So vegetarian, vegan, all of that is just really well accommodated. Very good. And allergies, absolutely. You let them know. We can let them know ahead of time. Absolutely. Yep.
The only meals that aren't covered is if you're off.
Yeah, let me explain that. All meals are included, period. There are no buts about that. Now, I want the students to experience, like when we're in Cologne, or maybe one or two of the stops, I would like them to have lunch in one of the villages or such, just to experience that. So that means that they're going out, maybe if they're not vegan or vegetarian, they're going up to a sausage cart and getting a sausage, because I want them to have that experience. Lunches, for those 1 or 2 or 3 lunches that we might do like that, they will be very inexpensive. I think that's part of what we do on this trip. But if that's something that you don't want your child to do, we can somehow try to figure that out. But that's, again, part of going to Europe and part of doing this is experiencing those towns along the way. And I want them to have that lunch experience once or twice. But I also want to be on the boat for lunch because I don't have to pay for it. It's a great lunch. Other questions? Yes, sir.
Will they ever sing on the boat?
That's a really great question, and we've been talking about that a lot with Mary and Alma Waterways. These boats are nothing like a cruise ship at all. For those of you who toured on cruise ships, not even close. The spaces are very small and very contained. There is not room for a choir. The only place they could sing on the boat that would be even remotely possible would be on the very, very, very top deck, and that's completely outside. Not impossible, certainly, but to expect that they will sing like in a contained theater kind of environment, there is no space. So we will be doing most of the concertizing, all the concertizing, off the boat. But I can guarantee, dinner, up on the top deck, we certainly are going to break in song. There is no way we wouldn't. Yes. No. Well, breakfast and lunch are buffet. Our lunch can be sit down. You have your choice. Dinner is completely sit down, very formal. Which brings me to a point. I did forget about this. Dress for dinner, not jeans. It would be nice slacks and an open collared shirt. Very nicely, nothing, casually jeans and a t-shirt kind of stuff. But it's beautifully served. Yes? Yeah, but again, you're not going to be in your really short shorts that you would wear on campus. It's generally more dressy, absolutely. Yes. It's April in Germany. It's not hot. Other questions? Yeah. Yeah. First. Correct. It'll be totally dependent on availability. If we have 40 kids go, then, if we have 42 cabins sold, which is most of those lower cabins, it will be a higher category and you'll be paying a little bit more. It won't be exactly this price. I can tell you right now, we already know, it's about $300 more than what you would... Well, for one class of cabin. If you go up into the suites... Right. If you go up into the higher suites, you're going to be paying more. But I will tell you, it's still dramatically discounted from the list price that AMA Waterways offers to the general public because it's the charter.
Yeah, we can email that out. So
Mhm.
if it's above the 42 cabins, we can tell you what the add-on is based on the different types of cabins. The one that I know off the top of my head is category ED, which is the stateroom with the balcony and outdoor balcony, would be, if it's above the 42 cabins, it's $350. And then there's sort of the suites, then you're getting into like $1,000 because they're much bigger rooms. Just a limited number of ED, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, so there's not a lot of people. But we can
Correct.
get a schedule of that. And some people might want to be in the.
Exactly. And if you want to knock yourself out. Yes, sir.
Some cruises have restrictions on the total weight or the number of pieces of luggage.
You would not believe how many bags I saw several ladies on our cruise boat take this past summer.
Yeah, we can find out what that is.
I don't believe there is, but I'll double check that. Certainly would be an issue more, I think, for the airlines than it will be for the boat. The airline we don't know yet, but we will know in April. But it's, again, the beauty of it is that we know it's not going to go over $1,300 for airfare, which is really great. Yes, ma'am? Because, this is a really great question, because of this, because of that deadline right there. And we're not even asking you to pay for the whole thing by December 1. We need to know that we have a half boat charter. And we are liable for it. And these boosters cannot afford a half boat charter. But that's a really great question. Yes?
Not to divert the attention.
Sure.
We have San Francisco trip coming
Which we're going to talk about just very briefly right after this. Anything more? Yes, ma'am. You get all your money back. You get all your money back. Absolutely.
Because if it looks like we're not gonna be able to meet the minimum charter amount, we just won't do it.
That's right. See, if we know by October 15th, see, that's why we want you on Sign Up Genius. We want you to sign up, and we're going to email everybody else that wasn't here this evening. And if we have 30 people going on this trip, we don't have a trip. And we'll know that next Monday. Good? Anything else?
So you'll
Yes,
get
ma'am.
back to us on the sibling part, right?
Say again?
You'll get back to us on the sibling part, because I have a younger son too.
That you would want in the cabin.
Yeah.
Yep, I'll call her tomorrow. I've been calling her every day to work. With the, yeah, absolutely. The sibling with the choir student or with the parents. Got it. Yeah. Honestly, I don't think the sibling with the student is going to be the issue at all. I think it will be I got to find out about the sibling with the parent. That,
They don't need their own bed. Shouldn't really matter.
I think it's a policy with regard, I know I heard Mary say they will not allow more, I just have this in my memory, they will not allow more than 2 people in the cabin. That's what I remember her saying. Yep. Anything else? We're going to send you some stuff over the next 24 to 48 hours. Hopefully, it'll be coming out probably tomorrow for sure. You'll get it. What we really need you to do more than anything else is get on Sign Up Genius ASAP. That will be up and running tomorrow, we think. Yes. And I would say to you, if you know of any adult types, family members, relatives that you think would really enjoy an experience like this, which is really fabulous, please tell them and send them all the information and see if they're interested. How this works, let me explain that. It's also a question I failed to address. We want everybody to go through Mary because It's just all self-contained, but Mary said, and rightfully so, she respects very much people's relationship with their travel agents. And so if you want to go through your own separate travel agent to do this, yes, you can. But it will be a heck of a lot easier if we all do this together. Yes, sir.
So since it's a wine themed cruise, there helps is the wine, some wine included?
Absolutely. Just to let you know, wine and beer and is included with all meals. And with regard to the excursions, those excursions are included in this wine-themed tour. So any wine tastings that you would go to on or off the boat are included. I won't be joining you. Look at this face. Other questions? All right. I would like to talk very briefly. It's going to be just that quick for San Francisco. Folks, thank you for coming. Advanced Women and Vocal, if you would just hang out, that would be great.